Let's bring Scott Martin in and get his take on all things markets. Good to see you, my friend. Wow. Do you have maybe you have some sort of big picture message you want to share with us? What a week.
Yeah, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years is probably what the S&P is
You
thinking.
wrote that, as I remember it.
I love those cheesy quotes. You know, one thing I will tell you, though, is I definitely, Connell, did pick the wrong week to quit drinking because this is definitely not the week, so that's out of the way. Here's the thing. We are going to come back today. I think this market is probably going to turn green this afternoon. The volume is drying up a little bit. Some of the selling volume was really, really heavy this morning. So there was a little bit of a washout. We talked about this, not to name drop, but on Varney earlier today about how, you know, some of these days, Connell, are just fraught with just the absolute indiscriminate selling, you know, from investors, institutions, and the like. And when you have these, what I like to call barf bottoms, they do rocket back fast. You know, you do
is
get
that
these
what that
500
was?
points.
I mean, because that was kind of the debate, right? Is that what that was this morning? Because if that is, you know, because then you make the argument, oh, that's good. We got it out of our system and now we can come back. Or would you have rather to see that all the way into, say, a close on a Friday? Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking, what would be the best way in terms of the healthiest way for the market to flush all this out?
Yeah, usually those are done intraday because at the close, usually there's that rush to get the sell orders in that sometimes, frankly, don't all get filled and you don't get them all in and then they bleed over into a Monday or, you know, the next day. So getting it when we did today was very good. Now, will it last forever or for the next 3 weeks? You know, who knows? But it could last for a couple days. But I think today was an interesting setup, too, because you had good data and bad data mixed in, right? You know, you had the Amazon and Google data, which wasn't that great, but not terrible. And then the GDP data, which you talked about with your previous panel, which is absolutely right, which was good data and growth numbers amongst very little inflation concerns. So there's a lot to be happy about here. And the fact that the market got down to these levels, I think, finally found some buyers. And I think it'll at least have some staying power for a little while.
One thing we didn't talk about, I don't think, with that panel, we may have mentioned it earlier, was the effect of, and what, you know, kind of the big picture of what companies been telling us. We mentioned trade, and we have heard from a number of companies that the trade war that we're in the midst of, especially with China, is having an impact, certainly having an impact on how they see the future. We didn't talk as much there a few minutes ago about currencies, which kind of leads into this discussion about the Federal Reserve, how it handles interest rates, what the effect is on our U.S. dollar, and how that kind of correlates to how much money companies are making around the world. Where do you think we go from here? I mean, that's one thing, in addition to trade, that we've heard on a lot of these conference calls. We're getting hit by this dollar. So now what does the Fed do you think?
Yeah, the currency is a major concern, and that could still be kind of the canary that's alive in the coal mine and singing loudly because you're right, Connell. I mean, look, you know, the U.S. dollar, give or take one of the days this week, is at year-to-date highs. Yeah. And these major S&P companies you're talking about, whether it's PP&G or Pepsi, Caterpillar, Deere, you know, they get about 50% of their earnings overseas now.
Yeah, they're getting hammered. By the way, we got to get a break in, but before we do that, so you're kind of bullish on this? Do you think today's a good sign that the buyers have come back? Or?
I think today's a good sign, but we also do own the U.S. dollar as a hedge, so don't hesitate to buy some dollar currency, UUPs, and ETF just to hedge out some international stock positions as well.
All right, man. Have a good weekend, I guess, right? Thanks for coming on.
I'll try.
Yeah. What other choice do we have? Scott Martin out of Chicago, Florida in a moment.